Now, I don't typically do my brows on camera because I think it's boring, but we're going to today. And this is going to be a lesson in how to do brows for those of us with sparse brows like me. First, let's talk about shape. So if you get yourself something straight like a brow pencil, what you're going to want to do is go from the corner of your nose through the front of your eyebrow, and that is about where you want your brow to start. And as far as where you want your brow to end, you're gonna go from the corner of your nose right past the corner of your eye, and about there is where you want your brow to end. As far as the arch, you want to look straight ahead and then go through the middle of the pupil of your eye, and there is about where you want your brow to arch. Myself, I like starting with either a brow wax. Unfortunately, this one no longer exists, but I love this one, or a brow gel. Now, I would not recommend this if you have already full brows because I think it makes it a little too difficult, but this just helps keep my little sparse brows kind of in place and gives them some shape. I'm gonna brush up and then we're gonna brush out and down and then let it dry. Now, I like to start at the back half of my brow and I kind of bring a little line underneath, and again, it's gonna end about there. Now, if you mess up, you just take your little spoolie and brush it out. And I take it a little bit lighter on the front half, and then I go to the top half of my brow, and I start to shape out where I want my arch. Now, for me, I like a more rounded arch. Some people prefer a more like defined arch, but I kind of like mine a little bit more low-key. And then I'm just gonna connect it at the end. And then as you can see here, I have some sort of basic little eyebrow shape going on. And this is where I'm gonna go back in and start doing little light hair strokes. Here, I'm going more kind of flicking upwards. And then over here, we're going kind of rounded and down. And then at the front, I'm gonna go really light-handed, just straight up. This Precisely My Brow is my favorite because the formula is really great. It's not too waxy, it's not too soft, and it doesn't make my brows look really shiny. Then if you feel like any parts are looking a little chunky or anything, you just, again, brush it through. Now, some people with the end of the brows like a little bit more of a lifted look, so you can end up more out here versus down here. And like I said, a little bit more lifted brow. You can kind of play with the shape and see what works best for you and your face, but at least you have the basics down. Now, as you can see, there is a massive difference for me. It helps just kind of frame my face and helps kind of lift everything. And then sometimes I'll just run through with a little brow gel at this point. And if you have fuller brows, this is when I'd use your brow gel. Remember, brows are sisters, not twins, so don't be upset if they don't perfectly match. There's my completed brow routine. Honestly, it just takes a lot of practice. I have days where I even still struggle, so don't be discouraged. Keep playing around, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.